Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. We've got a lot to cover. We've got some comments coming in, and we've got some breaking stories from overnight that we're going to kick off the program with. We've got a lot of updates on the investigation into the alleged assassin of Charlie Kirk. We've also got the mayor's race in New York City is, I guess, for lack of a better word, heating up. We'll talk about that. And just a couple just generalized news/political topics. Let's first, or you know what I read today, just out of pure interesting fact. Today would have been the legendary B.B. King's 100th birthday. Doesn't seem like he even passed away that long ago. But B.B. King would have been 100. I thought that was interesting. Okay, first up, Mark writes in, Trump told NATO to put sanctions on Russia. I saw that yesterday. I think we didn't get a chance to comment on it yesterday, but I appreciate that, Mark. Thank you. Then we have our tip of the week from this viewer saying, good morning to all. It's the tip of the week. Get ready for this. It'll make you hungry. A good way to make a hard-boiled egg is get a pot, one that has a lid, place the eggs in it, and cover the eggs with cold water. Bring the water to a rolling boil and remove the pot from the heat. Place the lid on the pot and set a timer for 10 minutes. 5 minutes if you want soft-boiled eggs. Now you have to peel the uncooperative shell off. The best way that I have found is to, when the 10 minutes of time is expired, empty the hot water from the pot and refill it with cold water. Keep refilling the pot until the eggs and the pot are both cool to the touch. Fill the pot one last time with cold water and add ice to get it even colder. Wait 5 to 10 minutes before attempting to peel the eggs. The shell should now slip right off to reveal an unblemished, hard-boiled egg. If your eggs are close to the use-by date, then you might be able to get by with just cooling them down using only cold water. The eggs I used were 30 days before the use-by date, and when I tried to peel them without using the ice, I ended up with just a yolk with some egg white. Did not look appetizing at all, though you could find other means by which to peel a hard-boiled egg on the internet, like rolling the egg on a hard surface in order to crack the shell into 100 of tiny pieces. The success I had in doing so was minimal. Using ice was the best and most foolproof way. So enjoy your deviled eggs, egg salad sandwich, and so on. Have a great day and enjoy. Well, thank you. I wish I had that recipe. I would have made breakfast this morning. I appreciate it. That's our tip of the week. Okay, this breaking last night, early this morning, really. Israel's defense minister said that Gaza is burning as the Israel Defense Forces confirmed that it had started a broader operation to destroy Hamas's terror infrastructure in Gaza City. Jerusalem, quote, will not relent and we will not turn back until the mission is complete. Gaza is burning. The IDF strikes with an iron fist at the terror infrastructure, and IDF soldiers fight with courage to create the conditions for the release of the hostages and the defeat of Hamas. Wow. So that's just a quick update from, really it came in just about an hour before we went on the air. We got a lot of waves coming in this morning. You guys are getting ready to hit the ground running. I appreciate it. Also yesterday, President Trump announced that the U.S. military carried out a second strike against alleged drug traffickers from Venezuela. We remember all seeing that video 2 weeks ago. And I saw, and it got overshadowed by other, obviously, news of the week, but I saw I believe it was the New York Times, but don't quote me on that, was trying to suggest that the boat tried to turn, because remember, we predicted on the show they were going to say, oh, there was no proof that there was drugs on there, or it was some type of, I don't even know, a fabricated scenario. Well, in that case, they were reporting that the boat allegedly tried to turn. I don't know what that does to stop that mission. It wasn't like they were quitting the drug trafficking life and surrendering just because they turned the boat. Kind of an odd take on it, but one, of course, that proves a fine example that no matter what Trump, he needs to be criticized by the media. But in this case, Trump told reporters that there were big bags of cocaine and fentanyl that were spattered all over the ocean when the strike hit the boat. Three quote, male terrorists were killed in international waters. The strike occurred while these confirmed narco-terrorists from Venezuela were in international waters transporting illegal narcotics, a deadly weapon poisoning Americans headed to the U.S. These extreme violent drug trafficking cartels pose a threat to U.S. national security, foreign policy, and vital U.S. interests. Dramatic footage of the strike shared by Trump showed a small boat idling in choppy waters before bursting into flames after it was hit by a U.S. missile. Trump told journalists late yesterday that future airstrikes could hit Mexican cartels smuggling drugs by land, and that there was little doubt about the culpability of the deceased boaters. General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, had showed me a little while ago the clip, but you could actually see it. But you don't have to see it because we have recorded proof and evidence. We know what time they were leaving, when they were leaving, what they had, and all of the other things that you'd like to have. But we have noticed that there are no ships in the ocean anymore, meaning no drugs are coming across. And we are probably stopping some fishermen too, he added. I mean, to be honest, if I were a fisherman, I wouldn't want to go fishing. I'd say, man, maybe they think I have drugs downstairs. I don't want that. But no, there are literally no boats. This was a boat, and we were surprised to see it. That means that no drugs are coming by sea, but they do come by land. And you know what we're telling the cartels right now? We're going to be stopping them too. When they come by land, we're going to be stopping them the same way we stop the boats. And you'll see that. But maybe by talking about it a little bit, it won't happen. If it doesn't happen, that's good. They killed 300,000 people in our country last year, and we're not letting it happen anymore. If you recall, he said similar in the past, but be warned, if you are transporting drugs that kill Americans, we are hunting you. It was reported yesterday that a former Sonora cartel kingpin, Margarito J. Flores Jr., he was on Fox News Saturday, and he said that Trump's aggressive approach is sending a strong message to criminal organizations in Latin America. They're going after everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a president of a country or a drug trafficker. There's a lot of fearful drug traffickers. So there's an update there as well. Trump, this came out early this morning as well. Trump has filed a $15 billion defamation and libel suit against the New York Times. $15 billion when the newspaper released articles to his ties to disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. Now, this comes off the heels of the Daily Beast, the far-left Daily Beast, apologizing to Melania Trump for suggesting that she had some type of connection to Epstein, and I think they were the ones that had the piece that suggested that Epstein was how Melania meant the future president. Today, I have the great honor of this is what the president said. Today, I have the great honor of bringing a $15 billion defamation and libel lawsuit against the New York Times. Now, the New York Times has not responded to a request for comment outside because it was outside of regular business hours. Trump accused the paper of lying about him, his family, and businesses, as well as Republican-led movements and ideologies such as the America First movement and Make America Great Again. The suit would be filed in Florida, but gave no further details. So Trump filing a $15 billion defamation and libel lawsuit against the New York Times. But as I said, the Daily Beast apologized to Melania over that article alleging an Epstein link. The article originally titled, Melania Trump Very Involved in Epstein Scandal, says an author. And if you know anything about that author, Michael Wolff, does not have the most, we'll say, impeccable record. Definitely a peddler in conspiracies. Well, the Daily Beast released a statement yesterday saying, upon reflection, we have determined that the article did not meet our standards and has therefore been removed from our platforms. In response to a letter from the First Lady's attorney, the Daily Beast has also removed a portion of an episode of the Daily Beast podcast titled Trump's Epstein Scandal Can't Stop, Won't Stop, referencing the First Lady. The First Lady points to her best-selling book, Melania, as the definitive account of her life story. We apologize to the First Lady and our readers. And that was posted on their X account, and Melania shared it as well with the caption, retraction and apology from the Daily Beast. Wolff, who the president in the past has called a third-rate reporter, who was even laughed at by the scoundrels of the fake news, he does have we'll say a questionable history. So that's just tying those two articles together. I know I'm moving fast because we have so much to get to this morning, and a little bit later on we're going to be talking to Patrick Gillette. He is director of admissions at Elmira College. They've got a really interesting new initiative called the Take Flight, or Soaring Eagles Take Flight initiative. And it's for transfer students. It's for first-year students. It's a way to get really college education essentially through scholarships if you have a certain threshold of need, meaning your parents only make so much. You'll find out all about it in the 7 o'clock hour. Tomorrow's program is going to be a busy one. We're going to have two guests. We're going to hear about a new hearing clinic with Elmira College, and we're going to have a student and the teacher on the program tomorrow. And then later in the broadcast, we're going to hear from the Gaffer District about Harvest Fest, which is on Saturday. Now, I am not going to be in. Just full warning. I took 2 vacation days, Thursday and Friday, to be away from the program so we could prepare. I think I still have this up. Let me see. Nope, that's with Phil. Let me see. Wrong one. To prepare for the Dwayne Eddy event, which is happening on Saturday at 2 p.m. at Centerway behind the clock tower. That's a historical marker dedication ceremony. So I just took off a couple days so we could get our programs ready, so we could get our posters, get everything set up, any last-minute details. It's not too late to donate to the marker if you want your name in that program, though I would recommend either send it in today. You can find out more at corningtwain.com, or the Venmo option to make sure that your name gets in that program. So I will not be in Thursday and Friday, so keep that in mind. You're going to have to pack in as many comments and as many waves as possible. One last thing for this segment, and then in the next segment, we're going to have our discussion on what broke last night in the Charlie Kirk case. But a divided federal appeals court yesterday refused to let President Trump immediately fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, but a forceful dissent warned that the decision misapplied both constitutional law and common sense. In an order issued Monday night, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit denied the administration's emergency request to lift a lower court injunction that had restored Ms. Cook to her post after Mr. Trump declared he had cause to remove her. The Federal Reserve is scheduled to begin a 2-day meeting at the Federal Open Market Committee on Tuesday. Monday's order likely means that Cook will be able to attend the meeting and vote on monetary policy as a Fed governor. The Trump administration is expected to ask the Supreme Court to stay the lower court's order, upending Monday's decision by the appeals court. The majority emphasized that the government had given Ms. Cook no notice or chance to respond to allegations against her, making the dispute less about presidential authority and more about due process. But Judge Katsas argued that the accusations that Ms. Cook made misrepresentations when applying for home mortgages before her appointment plainly called into question her fitness as a financial regulator. Pre-appointment misconduct, he said, is no less valid ground for dismissal than acts committed while in office. Fraud is not just a permissible reason for removal, it is an excellent one, said the judge. The majority took a narrow tack. It did not rule out Mr. Trump's ability to remove Ms. Cook for cause based on the mortgage allegation. Instead, it said her statutory protection from at-will firing meant she had a property interest in her position, entitling her under the Constitution to at least some opportunity to contest the charges before she was removed. So that's a lot of breaking stories, breaking news this morning. Right now, we do have to take a short break. Got a lot to discuss with Charlie Kirk. Unfortunately, a lot of it are the people just saying such vile things online. I do see that it has caused a lot of people to be fired, suspended. We'll be discussing some of those later on. We definitely have to talk about the mayor's race. I don't know if you saw it, but it's pretty amazing. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. So Hochul endorses Mamdani. It has not moved the needle at all, has made no real difference. It's being reported that people behind the scenes wanted her to do it because they didn't want her to have a challenge from the far left in her race for re-election next year, which could have been and probably still is a likelihood because we know there's a lot of younger far left people that want to upend, if you will, kind of the establishment. Really, that's what Mamdani did, right? Get rid of the establishment, get rid of the more moderate. There's not really today what you consider moderate Democrat in most of these races, but the establishment Democrat, get rid of them and bring this new socialism, this socialist left, the Democrat Socialist Party. So I don't think this saves her from some type of Democrat Socialist challenger. I do think that was her thought on it, but it has forced the hands, kind of. It's pressured some people, such as Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, to perhaps make an endorsement, but nothing yet. We're going to talk all about that. There's a lot to get to there. And also, I see that Joe Manchin has a book that's coming out speaking pretty poorly of the former president, Joe Biden. May get to that as well. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, stay with us.
Hi, this is Tom Witzel, owner of Hesselson's in Amara Heights. At Hesselson's, we care about your well-being and overall health, whether it's relieving stress, muscle recovery, increasing circulation, or just revitalizing the body. Hesselson's now has 2 complete line of infrared and traditional rock saunas in our new and expanded showroom. Come in today and see why owning a sauna is a start of your new healthy lifestyle. Hesselson's is still locally and family-owned and operated in Amara Heights. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
This isn't your library. Create with the 3D printer. Release your inner audio engineer or sewing machine rentals, all with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
This is a collector consumer alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
Cold Creek was once a thriving village, swallowed by silence and shadow. The town turned on a woman named Granny J. Hatchett. So that night the townsfolk went into her cabin. They tied her to the old tree, and before she was burned, she said,
"You all will vanish like smoke. And when you return, you'll wear your sins on your skin."
Now, each October, the cursed souls return to seek vengeance.
But that's just a story, right, John? John, did you hear that?
The Fox Sports app isn't just any sports app. It's your sports app. Your teams, your highlights, your scores, more of what you want.
To the end zone!
Stream your teams live. It's free with your pay TV subscription.
Oh no, I have to restart the roof cam. It's been a little while since I've done that. That's my fault, but we still thank Boss Security and Horseheads for bringing us the roof cam. I made that technical glitch myself, so my apologies. No beautiful view of historic Marcus Street, most likely this morning. Comment from a viewer regarding Cook. Since when does an employer have to afford an employee due process? That's a very great point. Cook should just go away. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, do you remember when the assassination of Charlie Kirk happened? At first, there's a lot of confusion about who was responsible. If you recall, they had originally arrested stopped, was questioning an older man. Well, I guess we learned more about this guy. His name's George Zinn, and he's a pretty well-known political agitator. The reason I bring him up is when they were questioning and when they were, I don't know if you'd say arresting him, but they did handcuff him at the assassination. He told cops he was, quote, well, this is not an exact quote, but he was telling cops he was trying to distract them from the real assassin. Imagine that is how corrupted you are in politics, because we've read a lot of viral stuff. This guy takes a step further. He wants to make the case more difficult to solve. He wants the alleged assassin, or in that case, assassin, to get away. So Zinn approached cops immediately after Kirk was killed and yelled, "I shot him, now shoot me." Now, he was unarmed and was taken into custody. You hope there are some major charges with something like this. Zinn admitted he did not kill Kirk, but confessed to cops he wanted to cause a distraction to draw attention from the real shooter. The faux shooter made similar strange comments after being transported to a local hospital due to a medical condition, saying he wanted to be a martyr for the person who was shot. What? Something doesn't add up here. Video from the chaotic aftermath showed Zinn with his pants around his ankles being dragged away by police as a crowd of college students looked on in horror as he wailed, "Shoot me." Wow. That is an odd one. That is an eerie one. You can read more about that at the New York Post. Now, according to reports, the suspect in the assassination of Charlie Kirk appeared to have confessed online on a Discord chat, saying, quote, "It was me." "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all," said a message from an account belonging to the suspect Tyler Robinson. "It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this." A member of that group chat shared an image of the conversation with the New York Post and confirmed that it came from Robinson's account. The person spoke on the condition of anonymity out of fear of harassment. I meant not the New York Post, the Washington Post. Discord provided a copy of the message with the confession to authorities, according to a person familiar with the company's interaction with law enforcement. Discourse has said the internal investigation found no evidence as a suspect planned this incident or promoted violence on Discord. So telling the people in that group chat it was me. Kash Patel, who we're going to talk about here in just a moment, because I don't know if you believe the reports. Some outlets, Mediaite and others, are reporting that Kash Patel is in hot water, that he's maybe not the most liked right now. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on Kash Patel. FBI Director Kash Patel shared new details yesterday with Hannity. Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi outlined evidence investigators are piecing together. Patel saying, "We are going to be interviewing scores of people on not just these chats on Discord, but any communication that this individual had." Patel confirmed, I'm sorry, I'm so close to sneezing if I'm acting weird. Patel confirmed that investigators had confiscated electronics from the suspect's Utah home and that of his alleged partner. Quote, "We've seized multiple electronic devices from his home of the suspect and his romantic partner. We've got computers, we've got laptops, gaming systems, cell phones. The evidence and information will come out. I won't stylize the evidence, but But I will say that what was found in terms of information was a text message exchange where he, the suspect, specifically stated that he had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and he was going to do that. When pressed on the suspect's motives, Patel noted words attributed to him, quote, and when he was asked why, he said some hatred cannot be negotiated with. So that was his response on why he would do this, according to Kash Patel, that the suspect, Tyler Robinson, said some hatred cannot be negotiated with. Bondi said they will indict most likely tomorrow or this week, and they will indict him for first-degree murder. Yes, I think he's due to appear in court today, correct? They speculated, or Hannity said, what about the death penalty? Because that is a possibility under Utah law. She said it's too soon right now legally to say, but I think the governor has said they want to seek the death penalty, which is very real in Utah, and they still have the firing squad in Utah. Bondi further emphasized the federal prosecutors are reviewing the case for potential charges, at the national level. And then we, as federal prosecutors, we will look to see if we have federal charges as well. And of course, if we do, we will also indict and work hard in hand with the state to ensure that this horrible human being faces the maximum extent of the law. But think of that eerie message that the assassin suspect said that some hatred cannot be negotiated with. That was his reason. But when you see some of the things that people, when you see some of the things that people have been saying, there is that thought, and we've talked about it on the program. We talked about it with Congressman Tom Reed last week, that there's the theory on college campuses and in kind of the left culture that words are akin to violence. So if you can't beat somebody in a debate, like they couldn't beat Charlie Kirk in a debate, or if Charlie Kirk or if anybody says something that hurts the other side's feelings, whether that was intentional or not. And maybe the hurting of that feeling is because you won an argument that they could not counterpoint. Well, those words are akin to violence. So therefore, it is okay for you to get violent. So if I say something inadvertently on this program where you said that hurt my feelings or that offended me, that's no different than me, in their mind, me punching you or attacking you violently in some way. So therefore, they have a right, even though, again, there's nothing physical about my words, they believe that they then have a right to get physical. It's very much of that mindset. But the FBI, I'm running late. We'll get to more of this. I see some comments coming in, a lot of waves coming in. I appreciate it, everybody. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Enjoy a taste of the Finger Lakes at Hector Hideaway.
With dine inside or out on the deck for gorgeous lake views, and pair your meal with a local wine, beer, or beverage. Visit us today at Hector Hideaway.
Do it all with Steel Battery. Now is the best time to save big on over 40 hardworking steel tools. Hurry into your local steel dealer or shop online.
In Albany, Buffalo, was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized and a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
Day one of the National Glider Competition, severe flooding has caused major disruptions in parts of Steuben County.
Throughout the year, prison reform has become a priority around New York State.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. And how can we help like that in our small businesses, not to sound cliche, but are the backbone of our community? Let's talk about weed. Thanks, as always, to you, the viewers, for sending in your texts and your voicemails. Now we go to a comment. This is from John in Elmira. Make sure to catch Frankly Speaking only on AM Big Fox News WYDC or visit our website. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Thank you so much for joining us. Mark writes in, I think these newspaper companies like the New York Times better watch what they publish. It seems like they will be sued and most likely go bankrupt. Well, sure. If Trump gets the full $15 billion, I'm not sure the New York Times can overcome that, but you would think they would have some type of journalistic standard anyway in place, but that's not the case. If you recall back in 2016, the New York Times did a whole piece about how there were no longer journalistic standards. They did not have to be neutral in any way, not that they ever were, but they didn't even have to hide it anymore because Trump was that bad and they had to bring down the presidency. At that time, I think he was still candidate. So they showed who they were back then. Okay, the FBI is probing the possible extended network that aided and abetted Tyler Robinson, that there were multiple warning signs he gave leading up to the assassination. I can't read the names of these organizations only because it's a little questionable because of his connection. I mean, I guess technically I could read that, but with the trans community, some of the words that they use, it's interesting how some words have are very negative, have now become a word that that group embraces. So, but I'm just not going to read it. It's not worth that part of it. But Bongino said that they are looking into whether the shocking killing of Kirk was part of a larger effort that could have involved people providing even financial help or someone who knew the specifics of it and failed to report it. We also will be dropping a lot of paper, a lot of subpoenas out there to take a look to see if there was an extended network. Also, the FBI is investigating social media accounts that appeared to indicate foreknowledge of Kirk's assassination. I don't mean, just these guesses, if you will. There seems to be some of the certain groups that looked like they had information prior to the assassination, celebrating it, even telling others to keep a watch out on September 10th. One person saying it'll be funny. I don't even like saying this stuff, but it'd be funny if someone like Charlie Kirk got shot on September 10th. Laugh my you-know-what off, said one user. Another person tweeting out, it's not tweet, whatever the word would be. September 10th will be a very interesting day. I plead the 5th. So it looks to be, and I'm not going to go through the kind of the forensic of how these people knew or had some type of connection to Robinson, but it looks as if they did. And I don't want to read any more of these comments, but there seems to be just, if you just take it at face value, it's either people that just happen to guess, but a lot of it looks as if there was people with knowledge of this assassination before it occurred. And that's why it's nice that Bongino and others have said that they are going to look into that and find out more. Again, Pam Bondi saying they're going to look at, again, to ensure that this horrible human being faces the, quote, maximum extent of the law. So that's kind of your... Utah prosecutors also prepare a potential death penalty case against Charlie Kirk. Given the very early stages of the investigation and the fact that the investigation is ongoing, we cannot comment on the specific charges that we will file, said Utah Attorney General Jeff Gray. However, we do anticipate that those charges will likely be consistent with the preliminary charges that supported Mr. Robinson's booking into jail. Charges in the affidavit included aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, and obstruction of justice. The aggravated murder charge is crucial if prosecutors intend to seek the death penalty, a move that Cox has called for repeatedly since Kirk's assassination on Wednesday. The maximum sentence for aggravated murder is the death penalty. Under state law, prosecutors would need to prove an aggravating factor. If they don't have one, a regular murder charge would carry a maximum penalty of life in prison. There are a number of aggravating factors, such as if the multiple people are killed or if a victim is a police officer or under the age of 14. Well, those don't seem to to fit, but the law appears to carve out a narrow approach to finding an aggravator in Kirk's murder, according to Joshua Ritter, a California defense attorney. Prosecutors would have to convince jurors that the shooting created a grave risk to bystanders in the crowd. At the end of the day, it's an allegation. It's not like the entire case hinges upon it. If the jury finds that the allegation to be true, then it's game on. They would have to make the argument to the jury. There was a crowd of people around him. He's shooting from 200 yards away, and that could have put others in danger, which to me, that's a fairly easy argument to make. Yes, of course, look at the assassination attempt on President Trump. Sorry, they're cleaning the streets out there if you hear all that news. Yes, thank you. How am I doing here? So your thoughts on this? I don't want to get too much into this, and I see your comment. I'll make a bigger deal out of it when we come from break. I don't want to focus too much on this, but I've seen this making the rounds, and your thoughts, according to, this is Fox News, I saw it on other outlets, it looks as if Kash Patel is maybe, well, they're saying the knives are out. On Monday, former Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, once President Donald Trump's top pick to lead the FBI, will be sworn in to a new power-sharing role with Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino. Bailey's installment comes at a perilous time for FBI Director Kash Patel, whose leadership atop the nation's premier law enforcement agency is under fire. That's according to 10 sources from multiple federal offices granted anonymity to speak freely. The White House, Bondi, Blanche have no confidence in Kash, one source said. Pam, in particular, cannot stand him, Blanche either. Now, Bondi and Blanche have both denied the characterization, and White House officials denied any plans to remove Director Patel from the position. But allies of President Trump and Patel's harsh critics have begun to circulate word that contingency plans for Patel's ouster are forming. They also claim his hopeful successor, Andrew Bailey, made clear that he would not leave his post as Missouri's AG or abandon his aspirations to run for state governor, only to serve as Patel's number 2. Anyway, interesting. Now, CNN said Kash Patel and the Trump team's many unforced errors. So you can see there's people moving behind the scenes to oust Patel, and some would be on the left, of course, that don't like him. But also you're going to have some on the right that want to see somebody else in there. This is kind of that palace intrigue. But your thoughts on Kash Patel and the job he's been doing. Now, CNN said Patel's handling of the manhunt for Charlie Kirk's assassin has led some Trump allies to suggest he's not up to the task, and plenty of internal complaining about Patel trying to personally claim credit. He had the... Do I believe he made an unforced error when it came to saying they had a suspect in custody and then having to backtrack on that? Yes. I think this administration has done a few things like that, the people, not Trump, but the people behind the scenes who almost want to be Trump-esque and tweet very quickly and send out things very quickly, and sometimes that backfires, and sometimes it backfires spectacularly. Like in this instance, we had kind of the Epstein file scenario where too much was promised, kind of overpromised, under-delivered. But in this case, is that enough to have him ousted? Your thoughts on Kash Patel. But we've got to take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Lather, rinse, moisturize, repeat, and repeat. But it never feels like enough. It's not your products. It's your water. Hard water leaves a mineral residue that clogs pores and dries out hair. Culligan water softeners remove damaging minerals, revitalizing brittle hair and dry skin. Upgrade your shower and skincare routine with Culligan. Water you love.
In a few words. Urkel, glasses. Nerd. It pays to know your nerds. If you guys didn't get nerd with me sitting up here on this show, 25 words or less.
Weeknights at 5 and 5:30 on Big Fox.
Deontay Brown, Big Fox News, Southern Tier.
If you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Couple comments from viewers. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, here we go. Good morning. Chemung County is welcoming public comments to identify concerns and issues at a resilience planning meeting, which is tonight. Thank you. A few people have sent this in. So basically what this is Chemung County is launching a county resilience plan, a roadmap to how we prepare for change, protect our shared resources, etc. It will take a deeper dive into the social and economic effects of natural hazards as well. We believe, it says here, we believe the best ideas come from the people who live and work here, which is why your involvement would be very helpful. So the Resilience Plan community meeting is tonight at the Meals on Wheels building. That's 409 William Street in Elmira. Tonight from 5 till 7 p.m. Join, spread the word among people that you know, like this viewer did. Thank you for sending it in and reminding me. I had someone remind me last week and I forgot that I had printed out the flyer. So again, the Chemung County Resilience Plan community meeting will be held at the Meals on Wheels building tonight from 5 to 7 p.m. And hey, bonus, refreshments will be provided. Okay, comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. I refuse to watch the video of Charlie Kirk's assassination because it's so evil. I agree. I think Trump said it perfectly. I would never have made a good doctor. I would agree with him. I couldn't watch that. And I know, unfortunately, the way social media works, some people inadvertently kind of almost forced to see it if they were scrolling their X accounts or certain social media outlets that they go to. But I'll continue. I would, however, watch a firing squad take out his killer. It should be a prime time on every channel. That is justice, a public kind of, because they said firing squad is an option in Utah. Well, thank you for the comment. Comment from a different viewer. Kash Patel was probably getting coached by the Trump administration to get a suspect quickly, and in my opinion, isn't grounds for dismissal. The threat against him hopefully did serve to make him more careful. Yeah, that again, I'm with you. I mean, listen, they wanted somebody quick. There's no doubt about that. I just think you wait until you're a little more sure. That was, and I guess out of pure frustration for myself, if you want to say in a selfish way, I think many of us went to bed that night thinking that they had a suspect and woke up, or being told they had a suspect, and then waking up and saying there wasn't. So it caused that chaos and confusion. And that was Jack who said that. So thank you, Jack. By the way, I don't have a lot of information about this, so take this with a grain of salt. But I've had a lot of people ask me, are there any vigils for Charlie Kirk in our area? If you have heard of any, let me know. I did receive one yesterday that a friend sent me. I don't know any of the details, and I would say keep vigilant in any of these events if you go to, because we've seen throughout the country where there's vigils being held where people got attacked, where property was destroyed. It's a sad state of affairs, but that's some of the hate that we're seeing. But what I learned is about a short free speech walk and candlelight vigil for Charlie Kirk, and it's going to be in Waverly, East Waverly Ballpark in Waverly, New York, and it's on Saturday from 4 till 6 p.m. That is the only one that I've seen even somewhat locally. Again, at East Waverly Ballpark in Waverly, New York, Saturday, 4 p.m. till 6 p.m., a short free speech walk and candlelight vigil for Charlie Kirk. If you have heard of any others in our area, I would love to hear from you. That's the one I'll be promoting. And again, I don't know anything more about it. Just a friend saw it and sent it to me. So I can't vouch for anything else but what that Facebook post said. So I wanted to pass that along to you because I've had so many people asking me if I had heard of any. Young people were forced to restore a Charlie Kirk memorial. Well, not forced to. They wanted to restore a Charlie Kirk memorial mural with Bible verses after vandals defaced the tribute. In true Charlie Kirk fashion, a group of young people took matters into their own hands after a mural honoring the late conservative leader was defaced with vile messages. With cans of spray paint in hand, the group added Bible verses and positive notes to what's known as Graffiti Bridge in Pensacola, Florida, an ever-changing local landmark that often features art, declarations of love, tributes, encouragement, drawings, insignias, and more. Quote, "We just wanted to come out here and find and kind of show our support and make sure that the mural looks nice and pretty. We just want to put some positive encouragement messages out there for Charlie Kirk." The original mural featured a smiling Kirk with the message, "Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk." And then vandals struck. I don't want to use, the same typical cliche vile saying a good Nazi is a dead Nazi. That was another thing. I see these people, but good for those young people for cleaning that up, putting Bible verses on there. And I don't see where it says what exactly they clean it up with. Well, there's one, Jesus is Lord, Psalms 133:1, excuse me. I said that odd. Matthew 19:26, Joshua 1:9. It didn't give the actual verse. It just gave the actual verse. It didn't quote the actual verse. But good for them. But have you noticed some of these people that are getting criticized, and rightfully so, for their posts? Some are losing their jobs. Have you noticed, to make matters even worse, that their comments are already just vicious? They're evil in many ways. They're garbage. I can't think. I need my thesaurus. But have you noticed that so many of these people, it's not even their own thoughts? There's something about that even makes it that much worse. That you're not even, especially when we're talking about someone like Charlie Kirk, who was so brilliant, that you can't even come up with your own statement to show your hatred for Charlie Kirk. So you steal either the same line that so many others have used and present it as your own. And trust me, this has happened. It's happened more than once, and that's why I'm bringing it up. Or you tweak it just enough to try to make it your own. So can't even put out your own thought. I'm not saying that's everybody's, but I'm saying some of these ones that I keep reading about, this person got fired because they said this, or this person got suspended because they said that. I thought this was already an old statement by the time you posted it, and it cost you your job. Have an original thought. And also maybe reflect and think about why you are so full of that kind of hatred and that kind of vitriol, and maybe take a step back from things for a little while. Okay, I need to take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
What better way to start or end every day than relaxing in your very own Hesselson's hot tub? Massage therapy, relaxation, stress reliever, pain management, soothing muscles, or just spending time with a loved one. Hot water therapy really does make every day better. Hesselson's has been a part of this great community for over 70 years, still being locally owned and operated. So make the drive to Hesselson's and start making your path to a better life today. And after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
There's a going on at all three Blaze Alexander Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram stores. Let's check them out. Look, someone in Mansfield's getting a new Jeep Wrangler, a Grand Cherokee in State College, and here in Lewisburg, a new Ram truck to tow all the toys. And don't forget, we have the lowest price guaranteed.
We've had many wonderful memories as a family. Dropping Shelly off at school, I prayed he wouldn't get stuffed in a gym bag. Missy might have been the one in Little League.
I'm asking the Lord to watch over my little girl.
Well, while you're at it, ask him for a win. I got money on this.
But Georgie is the one who threw us the real curveball.
I got a girl pregnant.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me? We may not be perfect, but to me, we have the perfect family.
We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. I need to reboot the roof cam, but we always thank Boss Security and Horseheads for bringing us that amazing view when I'm in charge of rebooting it, when I actually reboot it. Coming up a little bit later on in the 7 o'clock hour, we are going to be talking with Patrick Gillette. He is the director of admissions at Elmira College. Got a pretty cool program coming up I want you to hear about. It's called Soaring Eagles Take Flight Initiative. You'll learn all about it in the next hour. So Charlie Kirk's books and podcasts have skyrocketed to the top of the charts across nearly every major platform after his assassination. The Charlie Kirk Show, which topped Apple's podcast chart in the #1 slot on Monday. Did you happen to, I've got a full disclosure, I had a busy day yesterday. I did not get to see all of Vice President J.D. Vance's, hosting of the Charlie Kirk Show. Did you watch it? What did you think? There's been some really great quotes and comments that were taken away from it. We're going to get to some of it later on. But I would love to hear, more importantly, your take away from J.D. Vance hosting the Charlie Kirk Show. But on Spotify's podcast chart, his show ranked at number 26, trending upward with a green arrow. His forthcoming book, Stop in the Name of God, Why Honoring the Sabbath Will Transform Your Life, shot to the top slot as Amazon's best-selling book, a full 3 months before its release in December. The book is a guide on how to unplug, recharge, and reconnect with God, family, and yourself. It surpassed upcoming titles from Kamala Harris and Eric Trump. His older title, The College Scam, which accuses American universities of brainwashing and indoctrination, was a #5 Amazon bestseller on Monday, and that was published back in 2022. His 2020 audiobook, The MAGA Doctrine, which runs 6.5 hours long, soared to the #3 slot on both Audible and Apple's list of top audiobooks. So spreading the word even in his untimely death. We also learned Cameron Arcan writes at Fox News, from grief to growth, Turning Point USA becomes a rallying force for Gen Z in Battleground, Arizona. We talked about the huge increase in people asking to start a Turning Point USA chapter. The location of TP USA's headquarters, as well as its political arm, has resulted in the group playing an outsized role in the Grand Canyon state, which was considered hotly competitive in 2024. So just saying, and I don't want to get into all the specific numbers on this because we just don't have time, but the Turning Point USA has become a rallying force in Arizona. And I think elsewhere, as I had mentioned, has seen 37,000 new chapter requests since Wednesday's shooting. And the group already has roughly 900 college and 1,200 high school chapters. There's also an increase in job and volunteer applications. So J.D. Vance hosting the Charlie Kirk Show from the White House yesterday. I know one of the takeaways that the media is not showing you the numbers that he presented, which was about the polling that shows that the left is more acceptable of kind of the political violence or celebrating the other side's failures, or in this case, the assassination So he gives those numbers. They don't talk about that. They talk about when he had mentioned, I'm paraphrasing, if you say something, or if you see one of your fellow employees say something celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, call them out on it. Maybe, and I'm paraphrasing, tell their employer. So if you see a friend, family member, coworker saying this vile stuff, tell their employer. Now, there's outrage over that, which is interesting because the left has done that for a very, very, very long time. And it was encouraged by the left not that long ago. So it's interesting to see now this fake outrage, I suppose. Vance opened the show by stating that he was filling in for somebody who cannot be filled in for. He acknowledged the pain that Kirk's family, those in the administration, the country have gone through since Wednesday, before noting every single person in this building owes something to Kirk. He was a joyful warrior for our country. He loved America. He devoted himself tirelessly to making our country a better place. He was a critical part of getting Donald Trump elected as president, getting me elected as vice president, and so much of our success over the last 7 months is due to his efforts, his staffing, his support, and his friendship. He hailed Kirk as the most intelligent political operative he had ever met and a fearless debater who inspired young Americans by going into hostile places. One thing that's hit a lot of these young people over the last week was how Charlie was there for them when others were not. When they were afraid to speak their minds, when they were afraid of what a professor would say, when they were afraid that they would be shouted down by their peers, Charlie was there showing them that they could be courageous and that they could be bold. He held Kirk as both a visionary and luminary. He brought together people. He didn't just teach people how to speak. He didn't just teach people what to say. He didn't just teach people they could actually speak their mind on campus. He created a whole social network for an entire generation of young people. I know people who met their husband, who met their wife, who met their best man at their wedding at a TPUSA event. Because as you guys all know, it's not just about speaking your mind. It's about making friends along the way and creating that support network that won an election and has staffed the current federal government. Now, as you are aware, a memorial service for Kirk is set for Sunday at the State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Does anyone know, and I'm sure I can Google search this real quick, but it just popped into my head. Will that be televised anywhere? Is that probably online, I'm sure, but does anybody know if that's going to be televised? Also, I mentioned, and again, I don't know a lot about it, just passing it along to you because someone sent it to me last night. There is going to be a short free speech walk and candlelight vigil for Charlie Kirk at East Waverly Park in Waverly, New York. That's on Sunday from 4 till 6 p.m. Okay, we got to take a short break. Wow. We're actually going to take a back-to-back break and then that'll wrap up hour number one. So hour number one in the books. Hour number two, mere moments away.
Your tap water is delicious. I know, right? It's this Culligan Smart drinking water system. What do you think is going on in there?
I'm smelling a touch of chlorine.
Yeah, I'm detecting some PFAS.
I'm also getting notes of lead.
Perfection.
Sending it up.
Here we go.
Certified to reduce more than 70 contaminants. It's like having your own team of water experts. See the smart difference at Culligan.com.
This isn't your library. Create with the 3D printer. Release your inner audio engineer or sewing machine riddles, all with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
This is a Collector Consumer Alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
It's the best 2 hours of NFL coverage, starting with Fox NFL Kickoff at 11.
This is great TV.
It is caught! Then at noon, take it to the next level on Fox NFL Sunday.
This kid has it all.
Touchdown! America's #1 pregame show. The best NFL pregame shows are back-to-back.
Well, it's strained.
It is?
It's a repetitive motion injury. Do you do this a lot?
Well, I do give out a lot of checks. Now, what about this pain in my back?
Tender, huh? Do you play any contact sports?
Thank you.
Wow!
That explains it. Stick to friendly nods for the next couple of weeks.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News. When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Check out our newsreels and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. And how can we help like that in our small businesses, not to sound cliche, but are the backbone of our community? Let's talk about thanks, as always, to you, the viewers, for sending in your texts and your voicemails. Now we go to a comment. This is from John in Elmira. Make sure to catch Frankly Speaking only on AM Big Fox News WYDC, or visit our website at WYDC. Welcome to hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I am your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio right here on Marcus Street in Corning. Coming up in about 10-15 minutes, we're going to be talking with Patrick Gillette. He's the director of admissions at Elmira College. And we're going to hear all about the Soaring Eagles Take Flight initiative. Okay, did you watch J.D. Vance on the Charlie Kirk show? He laid out the data showing political violence is more acceptable, according to polls, among those on the far left. That was not what the media was focusing on. What the media has focused on is that J.D. Vance instructs Americans to tell of people celebrating murder of Charlie Kirk and to call their employer. Again, this was a tactic very often used by the left, now, I guess, out of fashion. When you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And heck, call their employer. We don't believe in political violence, but we do believe in civility. And there's no civility in the celebration of political assassination. The vice president, a few minutes earlier, said the data is clear. Democrats and left-wing Americans are much more likely to defend and celebrate political violence than Republicans. He pointed to one poll that showed 26% of young liberals believe political violence is sometimes justified, compared to only 7% of young conservatives who felt the same way. This is not a both sides problem. If both sides have a problem, one side has a much bigger and malignant problem. And that is the truth we must be told. The problem has terrible consequences. So if you watched it, he called for a crackdown on the festering violence from the far left. I will say, when it comes to some of the things that we've seen said, it just shocks me. And I'm not even naive to this. But anyway, Casey Hunt on CNN, again, more of this kind of blame game. She said, today, the horrific killing of Charlie Kirk igniting right-wing calls for a crackdown on the left. And this afternoon, Vice President J.D. Vance, the presumptive future leader of the Republican Party, took the mic. Hunt said, minority lunatic fringe, the vice president there, acknowledging that it's not most people on the left who are shouting at children or celebrating an assassination. Still, Vance went on to argue that extremism on the left is, quote, growing and powerful. If you listen to what he says next, it really makes the path out of this wilderness seem all but impossible to find. So J.D. Vance is making it impossible to heal the nation's divides, is what she's saying, because he is talking about civility. What Vance goes on to say, that Hunt is referring to, is there is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination, and there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. Hunt said, so of course there can be no unity with a celebration of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Of course it does beg the question, though, how can we get to a place where the voices that we're hearing, the voices that we are listening to, the ones that define our nation, are not the ones that are most extreme of all? Because as Vance himself said, this is a minority, a lunatic fringe. His words. How do we all get off our phones back to our real lives where we can see each other for what we are? We are human beings. We are human beings. We absolutely have to figure out how to tolerate people that we disagree with, people who see the world differently than we do. Now, Nancy Mace, and again, I would love to hear your thoughts on the Charlie Kirk show if you watched it. Nancy Mace files a bill to penalize Ilhan Omar for her disgraceful remarks on Kirk's death. In a post, Mace shared, and she's a representative from South Carolina, Mace shared photos of the resolution which would censure Omar and remove her from the Committee on Education and Workforce and the Committee on the Budget. Whereas Charlie Kirk was, I don't want to do all the whereases. So what, yeah, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but she calls out Representative Ilhan Omar when she stated that Charlie Kirk is dead, and before the body got cold, the far right propped his corpse up as a cudgel for this holy war. Don't be fooled. These people don't give a single you-know-what about Charlie Kirk. They're just using his death to further their fascist agenda, I think is what got cut off there a little bit. I don't want to read all of Ilhan Omar's, but Nancy Mace calling for the censure of Ilhan Omar. Just to show you how wild it gets sometimes and almost hard to follow. Jennifer Coolidge, you may know her. She's an actress. She's on the program White Lotus. You've probably seen her on numerous commercials. So she liked Charlie Kirk's Instagram account. That was her greatest sin. That's enough to cost you a career, because instantly the mob attacked her for, again, liking Charlie Kirk's Instagram account. Not for saying something vile, not for saying even something praising. Just liking his account to see updates. While some fans noted that Coolidge had liked a range of politicians from left and right, including Harris, Clinton, Biden, and they agreed that merely liking an account is not an endorsement. Far more of those on the left went on to attack her. One user who posted a screenshot of Coolidge's like slammed her, writing, "I'm done with Jennifer Coolidge after this." Another saying, "Please tell me this isn't real." Okay, this one hurts. This is because she followed or liked an account? I can't read any more of the comments because that's the kind of hate that's being spewed online. And it's actually kind of a very, very different topic in a way, but very similar. There was a television reporter that stepped down from her job, that resigned because she was being suspended for what was a neutral kind of in tribute to Charlie Kirk. Where is it? I had it here because I just wanted to use her name, because then we're going to show you some more of the vile quickly. There it is. So TV anchor Benny Ray Harmony resigned after being suspended for airing what was deemed a nonpartisan tribute to Charlie Kirk. So they didn't even want any tribute at this WICS ABC 20. It was a 1 minute, 17-second tribute. Harmony wrote, "Many in the mainstream media have been fired or punished for mocking his assassination. I believe I'm the first to be targeted for honoring him on air." So she was suspended for airing a nonpartisan tribute, and she said she just can't. That's not where her morals are. If she's going to be suspended, then that's not the place for her, and good for her. She told her followers that her resignation is guided by values that are essential to who I am, which I refuse to set aside in order to keep a job. I choose my faith and love of country and always will. Comedian, now on the negative side of things, comedian Michelle Wolf decided to take to Twitter, I believe it was, or maybe it was at an event, to brainstorm ways that, quote, bigot Charlie Kirk could suffer if he wasn't assassinated. What? I would much rather have him live a very long life and grow old to watch his daughter become and then she did ... to keep you wondering, a successful independent career woman who's maybe a little into witchcraft. Like, think of all these things he might have seen in his lifetime, like a lesbian president, nationally recognized Muslim holidays, beautiful mixed race children, unisex urinals, stuff that would have made his head explode metaphorically. This is what goes through your head. I don't think I know I'm not wired that way. I think people out here, these viewers aren't wired this way, that this is a reaction after someone is assassinated. We're in a dark place. Democrat California State Senator Scott Weiner expressed sympathy not for Charlie Kirk and his family, but for those who hate the Christian conservative, smearing Kirk by stating that he was, quote, a vile bigot who did immeasurable harm to so many people by normalizing dehumanization. Of course, he provided no such examples of what that dehumanization looked like. Yes, having debates on college campuses is a good thing, he went on, but dehumanizing people and persuading others to do so is horrific. Again, offering no specifics, no citation. Rather, Kirk engaged in peaceful debates. We know all about that. People called out his callous remarks. This is the dude who does immeasurable damage to children walking around, and you know some of these examples. I got to be careful here, and I want to go through each of them. Many calling him out for slandering a good, God-fearing family man. But that is, remember, California State Senator, because they try to say it's just the fringes, it's just the kind of nobodies, if you will, online. And I've seen some of that. I think it's sad because you could see, it is sad, numerous moral levels as well. But as I said, the people that just steal other people's comments, use them as their own so they can be shocking. They can't even have their own original idea. They need to steal somebody else's and share it as if it's some groundbreaking thing they came up with to vilify Charlie Kirk. That is pathetic. But also the people that have, and I've seen this, and it's anecdotal, I'm not going to name names, but I've seen it from people on social media, that their posts just keep coming, because that first one that he did that was quote-unquote shocking got a lot of attention, got a lot of likes, probably up to a dozen, which is, for some of these people, that's a lot. Or they get a couple shares, or even they get people that get mad at them and say, how could you? So they get some attention, which isn't that what social media is all about, sadly. So they get that little bit of attention. Well, where do they go from there? They start posting excessively with the same kind of concepts of this hatred for Kirk, and you see it go from maybe 12 likes to 4 to 1 to nothing. But they want that attention. They want that like so bad, that comment so bad, that argument they can get in. The person who says you're no longer my friend, they feed off of that. And so at the moral level, it's sickening to see what people put. At a different level, it's also sad to see how pathetic some people can be, and all in the name of their, what they think is their brilliance. Stealing other people's posts and crediting themselves for writing it, or just constantly chasing more of those likes. Now, the United States has revoked the visa of a Brazilian neurosurgeon who celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination. In a post that has since been deleted, Richard Barbosa engaged in a vile public celebration, applauding the shooter's, quote, impeccable aim, adding it was spine. All of this depraved online content I've seen, this one makes me maybe the most chilling, Deputy Secretary of State Chris Landau said. This is a neurosurgeon from Brazil. He not only commends Charlie Kirk's assassin for his impeccable aim, he then with surgical precision, specifies the cervical spine. This is a licensed professional who took the Hippocratic Oath. Into whatsoever houses I enter, I will enter to help the sick, and I will abstain from all intentional wrongdoing and harm, revealing he was personally directed by the head of consular affairs to revoke his U.S. visa if he has one, and to place an alert on him to make sure he never receives one. He also urged the Brazilian licensing authorities to take a look into this neurosurgeon who evidently publicly wishes death on people with whose political views he disagrees. Wow. Or how about this judge, right? A judge is supposed to be, we know this is not always the case. We've seen a lot of activist judges under the Trump administration going after Trump. But this is, in theory, you're supposed to be neutral and come into everything with an open mind. Hamilton County, Ohio. Hamilton County Municipal Court Judge Ted Berry is facing calls to resign and has been removed from an advisory post at the Joe Burrow Foundation after his social media comments have went viral. Local and state officials called the remarks, which included language such as rest in hatred and division, incompatible with the duties and ethical obligations of a sitting judge. On Friday, State Representative Adam Matthews demanded Berry's immediate resignation, describing the offending post as vitriolic, racially charged, and political language. A judge must be a pillar of fairness and impartiality in our community. To see a sitting judge post comments like rest in hatred and division, ask how he feels about gun violence and gun control in hell now, and then celebrate the race of the killer by stating, "So a white guy killed him. Color it karma," is shocking and completely unacceptable. This is not the conduct of a neutral arbiter of the law. It is behavior of a political activist who has abandoned the core principles of faith. We could do this all day. But yeah, after all that I just read you, Representative Jason Crow was on CNN, representative from Colorado. He said, "I don't hear leaders of the Democrat Party right now spewing hateful, violent rhetoric, but people on the right are doing so." Crow saying everybody should condemn insightful, hateful rhetoric, period. The difference being, I don't hear leaders of the Democrat Party right now spewing hateful, violent rhetoric, but I do hear that rhetoric coming from Stephen Miller. I do hear it coming from Laura Loomer. I do hear it coming from the White House, and that is wrong, and it's worse, and very wrong right now when it's coming from the seat of power, the most powerful place in America, and that's what we need to stand up to. Stand up. Interesting. Well, that happened. CNN had a very similar piece, saying essentially that Trump's cherry-picked claims of political violence ignore his own rhetoric. To be expected. That's coming from Aaron Blake. We got to take a break. We're not going to keep talking all about this because I do got to get to Mama Donnie and that endorsement. We also have a interview coming up with Patrick Gillette, Director of Admissions at Elmira College. But that'll be in our next segment after this one. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
This is a Sue the Collector consumer alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
Fall in New York State is unforgettable. From breathtaking views in every hue to adventure around every corner. It's the perfect place to get away. But don't just take our word for it. Come and see it for yourself. New York State, everything you love. Plan your next trip at iloveny.com.
It's a brand new 2025 Hyundai Tucson SEL all-wheel drive featuring power liftgate and heated seats. No money down for only $369 a month for 36 months. Make car buying simple. Drive your deal at Simmons Rockwell Hyundai in Big Flats.
In a few words, Urkel, glasses, nerd. It pays to know your nerds. If you guys didn't get nerd with me sitting up here on this show, 25 words or less.
Weeknights at 5 and 5:30 on Big Fox.
Fox 10 p.m. News is the first primetime local news for the Twin Tiers. Our reporters, Haley and Dante, scour the Southern Tier to bring you up-to-date news regarding local businesses, economics, and how national decisions impact our area. If you're not near a TV, don't worry. You can also catch our 10 p.m. news live on WYDCTV.com/livestream. Don't miss Big Fox 10 p.m. news on WYDC, on TV, or our website.
The Frankly Speaking roof camp still not restarted. I will get on that after the broadcast. Thank you for joining us. So we've seen, let's go to a couple of viewer comments. One viewer writes in, even in Corning at the No Kings protest, all the cursing and swearing with little kids, and they're calling for people's death, calling people Hitler. It's despicable. Yes, it is. Mark writes in, these people defaming Charlie Kirk are wackos. Let the man rest in peace. What has this country become? It makes me ashamed. It is heartbreaking. A North Country educator right here in New York, of course, was placed on leave after their Charlie Kirk comments, even saying, this is a teacher, Finally, an assassin that didn't miss their mark. Thoughts and prayers, followed by a zany face emoji to express silliness with a thoughts and prayers comment. I'm not going to read the rest of them. But there's, I've had people be critical on this program and elsewhere back in radio days too, saying, well, I thought we had free speech. And then both sides do this because there's kind of a misconception exactly what that means. And I think, obviously, we have free speech in this country. I'm not denying that. But the difference between free speech and when you're employed or at your workplace is different. And I try to kind of quote unquote explain that every once in a while or kind of recap it. But this morning I happened to be reading for show prep, and it says, attorney explains your rights to free speech as an employee after the firings of following Charlie Kirk killing. So maybe you posted something in the heat of the moment of your hatred of Charlie Kirk and you're wondering, will I get fired? Can I get fired for this? So don't just take it from me. I've talked about it before that yes, you can be, because you have a right to free speech. But that doesn't mean you have a right to no repercussions, right? Civil rights litigator out of the Atlanta area said when it comes to free speech in the workplace, there are limits on what you can say and do. What are those limits? This is what he said. I get a lot of phone calls. Hey, this violates my First Amendment right. I go, well, that's an easy one. You have no rights. With a private employee, you have no rights. A private employer is really in business of making money. If they feel your behavior online, on the weekend, or on your own time makes them look bad, they can choose to let you go and you have no rights. Now, when it comes to government workers, in the public sector, there is a little more leeway in what personal or public opinions you can share. They provide what they call a balance test. While you are allowed and you have rights to engage in the First Amendment, if that right interferes with the government's ability to do its job, it will be outweighed possibly, and the government's right could take over. You could be punished or terminated. You can engage in public discourse, but you know that it's being recorded. Remember your family and your livelihood. Is it really worth engaging with someone on the internet in an argument? Is it truly value your job? If you truly value your job and you can't afford to lose it, the best thing to say is nothing at all. So yes, there is free speech. You have a right to say what you want, but that does not mean there's not going to be repercussions at the end of the day. Now, Charlie Kirk's shooting is, quote, the death of free speech, according to the Tonight Show host Jay Leno. He was on Tim Conway Jr.'s show out of Los Angeles, and he said it's not a random shooting. I mean, it's the death of free speech. To think that you are so illiterate and so stupid, you can't answer verbally, and you have to shoot somebody with a gun to win the argument. That's a good way of putting it. Conway lamented that Kirk's two young children could be exposed to the video clip forever. His young kids are going to be watching the internet forever and accidentally running across that footage. Because their last name is Kirk, and 20 years from now, they'll be putting their name in, and that Charlie Kirk video will come up. That's what they have to look forward to their whole lives. It's horrible. It is the worst. Leno said the killing underscores how far the nation has drifted from the days of, James Baldwin and William F. Buckley packing in halls. Those days are gone. This is a political assassination of a man who I don't necessarily agree with, but I certainly enjoy listening to because, I didn't know that. Okay. And I didn't have to agree on everything with Kirk. I mean, we're at a point in this country where if you don't agree with everybody on everything, you take out a gun and you shoot them. I think it's going to have the exact opposite effect that the shooter wanted. I think the movement of Charlie Kirk is going to explode. So that's Jay Leno. Tim Burkett, representative from Tennessee, was on CNN, and he told Kate Boldon that CNN needs to look within if they wonder how to tone down the political rhetoric after Kirk's death. Well, ma'am, I'm not attacking you. I'm just letting you know that you all need to look within at CNN if you want to continue down this path. Who smirked and shook her head at the accusation. Boldon began by asserting that both conservatives and liberals share responsibility to lower the intensity of the political rhetoric and urged Trump to do the same. Anyway, I don't want to go through all of this, but they should look from within. I know that Bill Maher far-left Bill Maher praised conservatives like Kirk for promoting dialogue and condemned the far left for celebrating his death on his program. Amy Coney Barrett of the Supreme Court said that political discourse has soured beyond control. 2 hours after I was done talking to you, my colleague Charlie was murdered. Your reaction to that and to just generally political discourse. She said, that was horrific. I was at Notre Dame shortly after I left you at the Nixon Library, and the mood on campus was very somber. I mean, for the father of 2 young children and a husband to be murdered in cold blood was a tragedy and certainly sobering for the nation. And I think it is a sign of the culture that is where political discourse is soured beyond control and something that we need to really pull back. I mean, obviously, well, I assume that the person who murdered Charlie Kirk was mentally ill, but nonetheless, to create a culture in which political discourse can lead to political violence is unacceptable in the United States. As J.D. Tusil said, no, it wasn't ironic that Second Amendment advocate Charlie Kirk was shot. That's a point I'm making about people just sharing somebody else's talking point on social media. That's been one of the bigger ones. Anyway, we got to move on because we're going to talk about the mayor after we talk with Patrick Gillette. He's coming up next. Then we got a lot of stuff to get to. Sorry, I know we spent a lot more time on that than I meant to, but there's so much to cover. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. Let me check which break I'm on. There we go.
In the heart of nature, collisions happen when you least expect them. Deer hits can turn a tranquil drive into a chaotic moment. When the unexpected happens, turn to Scott's Collision. At Scott's Collision, we understand the frustration of unexpected encounters with wildlife. From dents to more extensive damage, we've got you covered. When nature and your vehicle collide, trust Scott's Collision to bring it back to life.
Want to read about ancient wonders? Go to your local library today. But this isn't your father's library. It's the home of creativity. Release your inner audio engineer or face off a dragon in the D&D club. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine rentals. Create with the 3D printer or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
Lather, rinse, moisturize, repeat, and repeat. But it never feels like enough. It's not your products. It's your water. Hard water leaves a mineral residue that clogs pores and dries out hair. Culligan water softeners remove damaging minerals, revitalizing brittle hair and dry skin. Upgrade your shower and skincare routine with Culligan. Water you love.
Is this your mom?
Yes.
And that's your dad?
Nope.
I'm the father.
Even if you're the father, you're lying. My family does not like my boyfriend.
Solid family.
I've had enough of this. I'm not your mommy.
Now you're just talking crazy.
Don't do that. I'm not your auntie, I'm your mother.
Can't cross mama and come in here and get treated nice. Your case is dismissed and so are you.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio. And in that studio this morning, we have Patrick. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's a beautiful tie.
Thank you. Myra College Pride. Absolutely.
That's right. It makes sense because we're talking about the Soaring Eagles Take Flight initiative. This has been getting a lot of conversations going. A lot of people are talking about it. Tell us about it.
The Soaring Eagles Take Flight program, we've run it for the past 2 years for our first-year students, and it's a program that guarantees New York State residents with a family income of $50,000 or less that is guaranteed full tuition and mandatory fees at Elmira College.
I'm guessing that got people's attention.
It did, and it's been great. We've seen a lot of success in the program. We've helped a lot of first-year students, and I'm really excited this morning to say that we're expanding that to the transfer population.
That's wonderful. So it was such a success with first-year students. You said, how can we grow?
Absolutely, and how can we help more students?
Yeah, and isn't that really what Elmira College works for? It's towards the students at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Our history is as a pillar of access for education. Yeah. As most people probably know, Elmira College was the first women's college to offer bachelor's degrees equal to men. And so being able to bring that innovative step into even 2025 and saying, how can we help students complete their degrees with as little debt as possible?
Yeah, that's a dream, isn't it? Where did the idea come from originally?
Yeah, it absolutely came from that. How do we help students?
Yeah.
We keep hearing college is expensive, college is a lot, college is scary, and we don't want that. We want students to be able to come in, become educated and go out and have the careers they want. So we took a look and said, what could we do and how can we make a program that will help low-income students achieve a premier private college education? And this was it.
Have other universities looked at this as kind of a bellwether beginning? Because I've never heard of anything like this, really.
Yeah, this is kind of an innovative piece. There's a couple others who are following suit now.
Stealing your idea? No.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery here.
Okay.
And
Yes.
again, as long as it's helping students, that's what we're interested in.
So how exactly does the program itself work? Because, I mean, there is the cost as a rule. That doesn't just go away because you wave a magic wand.
Correct. And so what we do is we use a couple different layers of financial aid. So once a student's accepted to the college, they file their FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid.
Okay.
And then from there, if they qualify, we'll use their federal Pell Grant, their New York State TAP Grant, and then anything that's not covered in that, Elmira College is going to cover the remaining balance up to the cost of tuition and mandatory fees.
Wow, that is remarkable. When will the transfer students be eligible? When is it? Because it's not this year.
Right, so Fall 25 has started.
Right.
But luckily for transfer students, this is going to open up in the winter of 2026.
Okay.
So starting in January, students can apply now, get into that program, and be ready to go for winter 26.
So start the process now, learn more about it. When you said eligibility, there's got to be a little bit more than what you mentioned. Is there anything else?
Sure. So for the transfer students, we're going to ask that they have 12 or more college credits completed after high school.
Okay.
And then have a 3.0 GPA or higher.
Okay.
And so if they have that and they have that $50,000 adjusted gross income and are New York State residents, we're able to go through this program.
That's great. And how do they remain eligible throughout their academic career? Because I'm sure there's still hurdles that they have to
Absolutely.
get through.
And the best news is they just have to maintain their academic progress. So they have to remain in good standing with the college academically and remain eligible for their federal and state grants.
Now, that's not too difficult. For some of my friends in college, it was. But for most people, it's not too difficult.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they maintain that progress and keep their grades, they're golden. And if they do have, if their income changes a little bit, our financial aid office is going to work with them individually and help mentor them through that and get them to a place that works.
We're going to talk about a few more initiatives that you have coming up in a little bit, but I'm sure there's people hearing this and saying, I've got to find out more. What is the best way to really start this process? January will be here in no time.
In no time, absolutely. So you can definitely check out our website, elmira.edu. There's information on Take Flight right there. If you're a transfer student, my transfer admissions counselor, Jen Robinson, works Monday through Friday. She's always available to help with that. Local folks, stop in, check out the campus, come take a tour, sit in on a class, eat in the dining hall, see what it's all about, and find out, are we the right fit? And then we'll figure out the finances. That's the best advice I can give.
Well, that's a perfect way of putting it because, I mean, I've lived here all my life and so many people that watch live here all their life. We've driven by the campus a million times, but how many people have actually stopped in and looked at it and had a meal?
I absolutely understand. I grew up in Waverly.
Yeah,
and,
there you
it
go.
just didn't hit. My aunt graduated from Elmira, and it still didn't hit. So, this is an opportunity for us to help local students as well. One of the best parts that I haven't mentioned yet, if a student qualifies for this and they live locally, they can commute. They don't have to live on campus, so they don't have to spend room and board.
Right.
It really will be a zero-sum game for them.
That's right, because room and board is the only thing really essentially not covered.
Right. And their books. So they're going to buy their books on their own if they choose to. But, in terms of the college fees, they're going to be covered if they commute from home.
That's wonderful. And speaking to your commitment to community and growing and helping people get this education, this comes off the heels of in the fall of 2025. Now, essentially, the entering class, you started Good Neighbor program. Explain that to us.
So the Good Neighbor program, we've heard a lot from our neighbors in Pennsylvania saying, I'd love to come to Elmira, I'd love to go to a school in New York, but I can't take my FIA grants, I can't take my Pennsylvania higher education grants to New York, and I don't want to lose that money.
Right.
Understandable.
Yes.
And so what we did is we looked and said, okay, to help those folks out, could we in sense cover that and give them the institutional dollars to cover their FIA grant. So for this past year, we piloted the program with Pennsylvania, and we were able to guarantee that if they qualified for the FIA grant, we would match their qualified amount up to $5,600, which is the top.
Okay.
We're going to expand that this year from Pennsylvania to New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. Vermont's lucky, they let them take their grants out of state already.
Okay.
So right now, any state that touches us and Rhode Island, gets the benefit of the Good Neighbor up to $5,600.
Yeah.
And that's on top of their other gift aid.
That's remarkable. Now, I know we've had people from Corning Community College, SUNY Corning Community College, tongue twisted this morning. You have a special relationship with them as well, correct?
Absolutely. We love our partners at SUNY Corning.
Mm-hmm.
We work with them. We have some dual enrollment programs with them. But we also, for the transfer students, we have an articulation program that guarantees scholarship for their graduates. So if they're completing their 2-year degree at Corning, we have specialized articulations for them to come to Elmira and continue seamlessly into the programs.
Perfect. And we're big fans of the scouts here on the program. We have guests on quite frequently, and I know that they are building and expanding at all times. And I thought this was really interesting. And tell us about transfer students who have earned the rank, which is a very honorable rank, amazing, if they became an Eagle Scout.
Yeah, absolutely. So also starting now for the fall of 2026.
This is a busy year.
So we've looked and said, who are some of the biggest contributors on our campus?
Mm-hmm.
And historically, it's been Eagle Scout recipients and Gold Award winners.
Oh, yeah.
So for the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, Scouts America now.
Yeah, right.
I'm a member there, so I got to keep the branding up to date in my mind. But
I know it's tough. It's force of habit.
We want those students to come onto our campus and be part of our community. So we're offering for any student that has completed their Eagle or Gold, they'll get an extra $2,500 per year, renewable for 2 years if they're a transfer, 4 years if they're coming in as a first-year student. We love their contributions and we love what they bring with them. So we're really excited to have them on our campus.
I've got to say, with all these initiatives, I want to sound like a corny infomercial, but there's no excuse not to try it.
That's it. We are sometimes overlooked locally,
Yeah.
and now we want to say we are here for you.
Yeah.
We love our local students. We look forward to partnering with the local school districts, with SUNY Corning even more, and continuing to build that relationship to help everyone in this region achieve their goals.
So instead of all the initiatives you decided to start in the fall now, how has the school year went? I know it's early on, but how's it going so far?
It's wonderful. We're in our second week of classes now.
Yeah.
Students got there last week. We had
Getting settled in.
The second largest recruitment in the last 10 years this year.
I can see why.
Last year was the largest in the last 10 years. So it's a really great time to be looking at Elmira. We're adding great new career-focused programs, social work, criminology, and forensic science. It's really looking at what careers are students looking for. What are the careers for growth, and helping students achieve where they want to go.
That's wonderful. Before we go, I think everybody's dying to know, how's the hockey team look this year?
It's always a good year to be a Soaring Eagle,
That's
both
right.
men's and women's. They're looking competitive again, and can't wait to see Coach Saul and Coach Haney where they're going to take them this year.
Yeah, me either. Well, hey, Patrick, thanks for giving us so much time this morning, and what fantastic incentives. And again, you said the best way to find out more?
Elmira.edu.
Perfect. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking.
Some people who need Social Security disability benefits go to their hearing alone and get turned down. Not every lawyer will appeal a denial after your hearing. I will. I'm Peter Gorton of Blackman & Gorton. I help people win benefits by appealing their denials, including in federal court. But your time to appeal is limited, so call my office now.
Lockman and Gordon, 1-800-698-0567.
It's Blaze and Family Dealerships. We're a family, and I try to emphasize that.
At Penn State Wrestling, we preach excellence and try and strive every single day to be better than we were the last. It's very clearly resembled here at Blaze Alexander and Blaze as a man and who he is.
You've got to repeat the process so many times to get it right. But once you get it right, you just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it the same way every time, every day without fail. No exceptions, and it works.
Blaze Alexander, where champions strive.
When you're in the area, you reach a point in your career where you've traveled enough, and that was our situation, and we were ready to retire from the military, and we found a house here that we felt would be a great environment for our children to grow up in. The process is, I would say, fairly easy. I've done it 3 times now, so I'm a repeat customer, and my message to veterans, active duty, retired, is that really seriously look at the VA Home Loan Program. It has been transformational to my family because we were wanting to look for a home here in the DC area that we could settle down in, and building equity in the home is a big part of the program.
Home for me is family. It's a place where you know your neighborhood, you know your neighbors. It's not just the house, it's really what's around that makes it home.
We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much to Patrick Gillette from Elmira College for being on the program. Tomorrow on the program, we have another 2 representatives from Elmira College. They have a really neat, got a busy show tomorrow. We're going to be talking with them at Elmira College about a new hearing service that is not just for students to learn to be in that field, but also for the community to have an opportunity to get this speech and hearing clinic, to use the speech and hearing clinic, as I should say. So you'll learn all about that tomorrow. And we're going to be talking with the Gaffrey District about Harvest Fest on Saturday. Don't forget, it's Friday and Saturday, but since I have you here, please humor me. Don't forget that coming up on Saturday at 2 is the historic marker dedication ceremony. We had that fun interview on Friday with Barbara Bloomer. Thank you to everybody who reached out and donated and wants to take part in the event. Don't miss it. It's going to be a big one. So there we are. Okay. By the way, Trump signed a memo establishing a task force to crack down on Memphis crime. That was breaking yesterday. Flanked by Governor Bill Lee, Senator Marsha Blackburn, and Senator Bill Hagerty, and top cabinet officials, Trump signed a memorandum establishing the task force at Lee's request. Quote, "It's very important because of the crime that's going on, not only in Memphis, in many cities, and we're going to take care of them all step by step, just like we did in D.C." Now, this is... does the college have a dental school? I don't know that. That's a great question. Elmira College. Full disclosure, I already did the interview. We recorded it yesterday, so I will not have an opportunity to ask them that, but I can do a little research. But the hearing is really interesting. You'll hear all about it tomorrow. Okay, so this will come as no surprise as we jump into New York State issues, and I know I've got to take a break already. But Politico reports it again. We had this story for you probably last week as well. According to a new poll, capitalism is out and socialism is in. Yes, the socialist brand is on the rise, fueling the flank of the Democrat Party. To argue its ideology is becoming more mainstream. Shortly after Gallup released data showing Democrats and independents are cooling toward capitalism, a progressive organization is out with a poll finding that more than half of likely Democrat voters prefer socialist-aligned figures like Bernie Sanders, AOC, and Zohran Mamdani to the establishment like Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and Nancy Pelosi. And that ties in, which, is it troubling? Of course it's troubling, especially after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and to see what people are saying, and it gets you very discouraged. I understand it. But that is kind of where the Democrat Party is at. Now, Trump has threatened to withhold federal funds from New York. Great. After Hochul's shocking Mamdani endorsement, saying Governor Hochul of New York has endorsed the little communist Zohran Mamdani running for mayor of New York. This is a rather shocking development and a very bad one for New York City. How can such a thing happen? Washington will be watching the situation very closely. No reason to be sending good money after bad. Now, we learn that Hochul's, and I don't know, they say bombshell endorsement, but it's a pretty pathetic endorsement, really. She did it, and what we're learning is that she didn't want a left-wing challenger in the Democratic primaries. Is the real reason why she did this. Hochul likely will have Mamdani's endorsement, but that's not guaranteed. He was asked, and maybe we'll get to that, do you endorse Governor Hochul? And she said, or he said, Mamdani, excuse me, I'm trying to get too much in and too quickly. He said, I'm just focused on November. After she gives him an endorsement, he will not reciprocate. One Democrat operative called Hochul's endorsement, which failed to sway some prominent Democrat holdouts and took some business leaders by surprise, inevitable. Okay, did anybody really think Hochul's endorsement would put any pressure on Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer? I mean, Governor Hochul is not a political heavyweight. I mean, it's not as if everybody was waiting. They even said that it did. Well, it depends on where you go. Listen to this. This is how the media works. New York City mayor's race. Hochul gives Mamdani crucial endorsement, putting pressure on Schumer and Jeffries. Again, Schumer and Jeffries not losing any sleep over a Governor Hochul endorsement. But then we hear from Politico, Kathy Hochul's endorsement hasn't moved the needle for Zohran Mamdani. Centrist Democrats from the New York governor's wing of the party remain leery of the young Democrat socialists, and rightfully so. But at the end of the day, it wasn't about what's right for New York City. It wasn't about what's right for the state, whatever the case. It was what worked best for Governor Hochul so that she wouldn't have a left-wing primary challenger next year. Many saying, like I said, inevitable. It's a calculated political risk. Delgado is gaining ground on her, and they want to neutralize him. There's concern of him running to the left. She's losing ground in the suburbs and upstate, and they have to consolidate the downstate vote. So that's why the Democrat Party is speculating, sources are speculating, that she endorsed Mamdani. Were you surprised by it? I mean, this idea, bombshell, all these terms that they're using. It was only a matter of time. I'll be more surprised, and I still think this will happen as well. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer will probably end up endorsing him because as last poll I saw, I think he's up 21 points over Cuomo. But here she endorses him, takes some grief from her party, and Mamdani declines to immediately back Hochul's reelection. This is what you get. When asked about her reelection bid, Mamdani said, my focus is on November, and I'm excited to have the governor's support in that fight for November as we make it clear that we could put the days of City Hall and Albany being at war in the past. So he wouldn't even endorse, he wouldn't even reciprocate. By the way, Mamdani, if elected mayor, has pledged yet again to order the NYPD to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, I mentioned it yesterday. Mamdani holds a 21-point lead over Cuomo in the mayor's race, fueled partly by a growing black base, according to a new poll released Tuesday. The lefty Democrat captured the support of 45% of the respondents compared to 24% who said they backed Cuomo, 17% for Curtis Sliwa, and 9% for Mayor Adams. It was said yesterday that many are expecting Adams to maybe step down from the race this week. His office has denied that, but it is worth mentioning. All right, we got a couple other things on this. Let me take our break. Get your comments in because we are running late. And it's almost time to wrap up today's edition, so stay with us.
Want to read about ancient wonders? Go to your local library today. But this isn't your father's library. It's the home of creativity. Release your inner audio engineer or face off a dragon in the D&D Club. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine rentals. Create with the 3D printer or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
This is a Collector Consumer Alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
In Albany, Buffalo, was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
Day one of the National Glider Competition, severe flooding has caused major disruptions in parts of Steuben County.
Throughout the year, prison reform has become a priority around New York State.
We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio. Broadcasting live. All right, just looking at all my paperwork, seeing how we're doing here. Mark suggesting that, yes, to paraphrase Mark, Hochul did indeed do this to better herself, to make sure that she had, and there's others people, that's why I'm paraphrasing, other people had the same thing. It was about protecting herself from a far left opponent in the primary. She must be scared of Elise Stefanik. I would be. Did you? I know I mentioned it yesterday, but I think it's worth reiterating. Representative Elise Stefanik, who again has not declared that she's running for governor yet, but it was said that she is talking about November after the elections. She spoke out against Hochul's endorsement, and I'm not sure if I read all of this on the program yesterday, so I wanted to get to it. Elise Stefanik said, well, Kathy Hochul is the worst governor in America. It was only a matter of time before she bent the knee for this raging anti-Semite communist. The reality is Kathy Hochul owns Zohran Madami's position to defund the police, to abolish our law enforcement, to abolish prisons, to abolish private health care insurance, to decriminalize sex workers. It is outrageous. She doesn't pull any punches. Elise Stefanik is a big one. Now, I know she's going to do a great job. If she declares, she is going to do a great job. She's got the name recognition, she's got the talent, and she's great at fundraising. But there is a criticism coming out from the Democrats that the Hakeem Jeffries, the Chuck Schumers of the world have not endorsed Mamdani. What is your thoughts, your predictions? Will they ultimately endorse? My thought is some will, some won't. I don't think it's worth the political risk. Hochul's not a political power maker, so she's not putting any pressure on Hakeem Jeffries, no matter what the articles say. She's not putting any pressure on Schumer. They don't. Her decisions mean nothing in the scheme of things to them. She just doesn't have that kind of power. So yes, it's big if you read the Empire report that she endorsed her. At the end of the day, is it really that big? The only reason it's making any kind of news whatsoever is because he is a Democrat socialist, and it's showing someone who they always try to label a moderate. I know, with Governor Hochul endorsing him. So that's really the only quote-unquote shocking part of it all. But it's not going to carry any weight. And if you're one of the other groups, the Hakeem Jeffries, the Schumers, whoever you want to name, what is the political upside? Right now, because Hochul wouldn't think something like this through. But she thinks the political upside is that there's no leftist challenger. But what do they get out of it? Nothing. I mean, he's up 21 points. It's not really going to make a difference at the end of the day. And when the end of the day comes, he's still going to be willing to work with Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer to get all this money from New York or from the feds. Kristen Fleming says Kathy Hochul is a red-hot hypocrite who won't support Zohran Mamdani's tax hike policies anyway. You know, her big thing was that he'll stand up to Donald Trump. She couldn't have framed it in a more grotesque way. Local elections have turned into all Trump all the time. But this great city deserves a mayor who promises to fight for New Yorkers, not someone sitting in City Hall so they can jostle with other Democrat influencers to become the resistance leader. Yeah, I'm looking for a mayor who will fix MTA, make the streets safe, help solve housing shortages, and keep jobs here. In fact, with the exception of her and Mamadani's shared fantasy of landing a few punches on Trump's chin, the governor offered no specifics on why she suddenly thinks socialism will make our bastion of capitalism a better place. Well, because at the end of the day, it was all about Kathy Hochul. We got to take our last break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking, a couple last New York State things.
Sophia A., grade 4, absent, because transportation was absent.
Julio M., grade 6, absent, because Wi-Fi was absent.
Maria J., grade 12, absent, because childcare for siblings was absent.
Jacob O., grade 12, absent,
because housing was absent.
Aisha S.,
Olivia H.
Darren L.
Cole W.
Preston L., absent,
Absent.
Absent.
Because healthcare, anti-bullying,
mental health support was absent.
We're calling roll on the 15 million absent students.
Their reasons why are very real.
And yet the solution is a present, caring adult to help them along their path.
When communities and schools is present, 99% of our students are present and ready to learn.
If you or one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning, wrapping up today's edition. What a fun, exhilarating edition it's been. Rick writes in right here at the end of the program. Qatar is going to want their airplane back after hearing Trump and his staff knew about the attack in Qatar prior to it happening. Tisk, tisk. Why can Israel fly around like a big old bird and blow up anything or anyone they want with no retaliation? Well, Rick, isn't that what you're asking to have happened to Hamas? Because they went around and blew things up and killed and raped and murdered, and you don't want retaliation? I don't know. There seems to be a disconnect there that you could be describing Hamas in what you want. But I'll continue. RFK Jr. has his new vaccine committee in place. They will be meeting in the next few days on the future of vaccine policy. We're all doomed. Hang on. Trump and his band of merry cabinet members are ready for an all-out war against Democrats and the left. Anyone that has crossed Trump will be dealt with, fired, and attempt to be humiliated. It's wrong, it's discriminatory, it's cheating and lying and taking the easy way out. And hey, Trump orders all national parks to remove anything that speaks to slavery. Just like Trump, do something totally rotten, then try to hide it like it never happened. Come on, Epstein files. That's Rick. Okay, I wanted to mention this quickly. There is a man who has announced that he is running for Congress against a Democrat, running as a Democrat for Congress against Nick Langworthy, that, of course, the 23rd Congressional District. And he's going to hold some events. He gave you can find this all for yourself at the Hornell Sun, where he has a letter to his dear fellow Democrats. And he also said, just to give you an idea of just quickly some of the things that he's against, and this is in his own words. Trump and Musk against, tax breaks for the wealthy and cost increases for family against, cuts to senior Social Security against, cuts to senior Medicare health care against. You get the idea. He's got all the talking points covered. He said in his statement, "Dear fellow Democrats, with a run for Congress, I'm willing to inform you that I'm coming to your community to pay my respect and listen to your concerns of your family, community, and our country. I'm respectfully asking you to come to a local town hall meeting to discuss what is important to you and your family and what you would like your congressional representative to fight for in Washington, D.C." Now, his name is, I'm going to continue here, but I forgot to mention his name, Erie County Attorney Kevin Stocker, announcing his bid for Congress in the 23rd Congressional District, which would mean, as of right now, there'd be a Democrat primary, because that would be 2 at least running. He said, "Sadly, our current Congressman, Nick Langworthy, does not have the courage to face you in person and explain why he blindly supports President Trump, Elon Musk, and votes to give massive tax breaks, again, to millionaires and billionaires. In turn, Langworthy voted to cut Social Security services for senior, Medicaid, Medicare, veteran services, food stamps, health care, food for children, public education, and other important government sources. We are in a fight with millionaires and billionaires versus hardworking families and the poor." Anyway, I can't read the whole thing because we were out of time. But his event closest to us. If you are interested, Stocker is his name. Again, what did I say was Ted? Kevin Stocker, running against Langworthy, but he'll have a Democrat primary as well. But he will be at the Corning Library, not this Saturday, but next Saturday from noon till 1:45. So the 27th. All right. Manchin has a new book out, ripping Biden for sending checks to everyone and saying that the ex-president had a very bad temper in his new book. Joe Manchin's book called Dead Center will be out very soon. All right, that does it for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Oh, I see so many comments coming in right at the end. I apologize. I won't be able to get to them. Maybe we'll read them on tomorrow's broadcast. Tomorrow on the show, we're going to hear from Elmira College about the hearing clinic that they offer. Also, we're going to hear from the Gaffer District to tell us all about Harvest Fest. So have a great day, everyone, and we'll be back tomorrow morning starting at 6 a.m. with Frankly Speaking. Only on WYDC TV, Big Fox. We'll see you bright and early. I look forward to it already.
Don't have time to go to the gym? The health club is not an option? Come to Hesselson today and see why swim spas and fitness systems can fit into anyone's yard and budget. 12-foot, 14-foot, 15-foot, 18-foot dual temperature hot tub and swim spas are all on display in Hesselson's indoor and outdoor showroom. Try before you buy. 0% interest-free financing options are available on every Hesselson swim spa. Swim and exercise year-round and start making every day better. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.